The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. Good morning, I'm John David Wells. What do we do on this broadcast? We report the news, honestly, fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. In short, we de-propagandize the mainstream media. We're happy to do it. We're actually pretty good at it, too. We make commentary. That's not news. Commentary is just opinion, yours and mine. We compare, and so we debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. It's Friday. Yeah. And it's Fishing Hoodie Friday. Okay. It's not a fishing hoodie. I was just trying to figure out something to replace Fishing Shirt Friday, which is something that we do here in Texas on Fridays. Because, you don't get through a Texas summer without fishing shirts. That's just the way it is. It's too hot. So there's no real winter analog. So I'm trying to figure that out. The only thing maybe Flannel Shirt Friday? Would that work? Maybe Flannel Shirt Friday. Maybe Flannel Shirt Friday. Oh, I'll have to think that over. Okay, so this is the Wells Report. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. I have noticed, and I've spent an awful lot of time criticizing the Republican Party for essentially letting the Democrat Party run all over a Republican president without doing anything to defend him. And of course, you know why. Because the Republican Party didn't want Donald Trump any more than the Democrat Party wanted Donald Trump. Because this is a political club, first, last, and always. And that political club simply does not have room in it for the people's choice for president. No, unless the political parties have an outsized hand in choosing the president, well, they're just going to run him out of town. And that's exactly what happened. And the people of the United States at least are saying so far, no, that's not going to happen. That's simply not going to happen. So I have been stingingly critical of the Republican Party for giving carte blanche to the Democrats and the left and the mainstream media and so on and so forth to stomp the guts out of the nation's 45th president, which is just beyond the pale. I mean, it's not just about Trump, okay? It's about the office of the presidency. It's about the people of the United States. Do the people of the United States have anything to do with who the president is? The Constitution says yes. The body politic says only up to a point. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. We've got the wrong people in the wrong offices in the most powerful city in America. And we have to do something about that. Fortunately, there's an election coming up. Cross your fingers. Hopefully our votes actually matter. We'll see. But that being said, finally, the Republicans, in a half-hearted gesture, it seems half-hearted to me, but then again, it could be bias from USA Today that sends this to us. The top Republicans in Congress have told the Supreme Court that Colorado was wrong to disqualify former President Donald Trump for ginning up the crowd that assaulted the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Okay, so we point out bias, right? So that's bias. Yeah, the top Republicans in Congress have told the Supreme Court that Colorado was wrong to disqualify Donald Trump for ginning up the crowd that assaulted the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, 2021. That's the prevailing narrative. But somehow I just can't put that together. I saw the speech. And then, of course, I saw the mainstream media's bastardization of the speech, putting different sentences together that had no proximity in the actual speech. And so So that's what the USA Today is doing here. That's bias. In a court filing signed by House Speaker Mike Johnson, you'd expect that, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, really? And 2/3 of congressional Republicans, the lawmakers said the Colorado's decision ignored the role of Congress and used too broad a view of what it means to engage in an insurrection. If only these same Republicans had said that to the January 6th committee. Oh, but no. No. Kevin McCarthy found a way to keep real Republicans off that committee. Yeah, he sure did. Are you beginning to get what's going on here? You picking up what I'm putting down? Anyone viewed as morally complicit should be swept within this vague definition, or could be swept within this vague definition, they wrote. After the then GOP-controlled Senate acquitted Trump in 2021 on an impeachment charge of inciting an insurrection, Senator McConnell said Trump was nonetheless practically and morally responsible for proving the events of the day, and went on to say the people who stormed this building believe they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president. Well, that's an assumption on your part. It is an assertion on your part, Mr. McConnell. And while everybody has their own opinions, right, to just say it for all times and all people and just put it out there because I'm Mitch McConnell doesn't mean that you don't put your pants on one leg at a time just like the rest of us. Anyway, that was also lost in the entire narrative. You know, this guy saying, my God, having a belief that it was a foreseeable consequence of the growing crescendo of false statements, conspiracy theories, reckless hyperbole, which the defeated president kept shouting into the largest megaphone on planet Earth. This is what Mitch McConnell said, and it's all garbage. Colorado Supreme Court ruled last month that Trump was barred from another term and therefore banned from the state's primary ballot by a Reconstruction era provision in the 14th Amendment intended to keep federal officials who sided with the Confederacy from gaining power in the reconstructed federal government. And that does not apply under the current context, either politically or legally here in these United States. There is no Confederacy. Donald Trump is not an officer of that Confederacy, and therefore the 14th Amendment has nothing to do with him. And once again, as we have seen over and over and over again, you just sort of cherry pick whatever you like out of whatever you say and just kind of cobble it together to create some sort of meaning. Like Section 3 of the 14th Amendment says, my God, if you commit an insurrection, you can't run for president. Well, that ignores the context of the amendment itself, and it also ignores Section 1. I've made that point several times on this broadcast, and people just blow it off like it's nothing. It's not nothing. But for whatever reason, I want to say thank you to the GOP senators who finally found a way to defend President Trump in something. Okay? Even if it is half-hearted and somewhat feckless. But then again, half-hearted and feckless is what the Republican Party stands for. So anyway, getting back to this, there are a couple of different decisions that involve President Trump. President Trump is, of course, looking at this Colorado decision, but he was on Sean Hannity last night, and he talked a little bit about another decision they have to make.
They have two votes that are very important coming up. One is, as we discussed, we call it Colorado or whatever, but I really believe they're going to leave the people to vote. Again, you're the leading candidate in both parties. You're leading the Democrats by many, many points. I mean, it's hard to imagine they would do. And most states have already approved it, as you know. Very few states have done that. This is Colorado and a couple of others at this moment. But they have another important, and that's immunity for the president. The president of the United States, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about any president, has to have immunity. Because if you take immunity away from the president, so important, you will have a president that's not going to be able to do anything. Because when he leaves office, the opposing party president, if it's the opposing party, will indict the president for doing something that should have been good. Like Obama dropped missiles and they ended up hitting a kindergarten or a school or the apartment house. A lot of people were killed. Well, if that's the case, he's going to end up being indicted when he leaves office. He meant well. The missile went in the wrong direction. And other things. Look at Biden. What would happen to Biden? He's killed our country with his policies. The border is a disaster. Everything he does is a disaster. What he did in Afghanistan is the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, giving them $85 billion worth of equipment, killing our soldiers, wounding horribly our soldiers, and leaving people behind. Well, when he leaves office, if he doesn't have immunity, now, I think it's horrible what he did, but he probably, I don't know, it's hard to believe, but he probably meant well. It's hard to believe that he meant well, but the man is incompetent. But you have to leave immunity with the president. If a president is afraid to act because they're worried about being indicted when they leave office, a president of the United States has to have immunity. And the Supreme Court's going to be ruling on that. If they don't have immunity, no president is going to act. You're going to have guys that just sit in office and are afraid to do anything.
That's completely correct. That is completely correct. That's not a hyperbole-based statement. That is true. Presidents have got to be able to act. That's why there's an executive branch. That's why we don't have a parliamentary system where the titular head of state is a creature of the actual legislature. Parliament decides who is going to be the prime minister. And that is not an executive branch, meaning all the powers in the legislature. Now, as we've seen with the legislature of the United States, can you imagine investing more power into the legislature and doing away with the executive branch? Can you imagine that? It would be disastrous. We have a chief executive for a reason. And all of these brave statements that no one is above the law. Well, that's not true. Because if the president isn't above the law, then it'll be just as President Trump is saying right this minute. Presidents won't be able to do anything without the possibility, the specter, the horrific idea that they can be prosecuted as soon as they leave office. And that's what's wrong with all of this. This ridiculous political maze. Yeah, okay, I get the ideas of it all. I do. No one's above the law. Well, that's not exactly true. And we know that's not exactly true because we've seen so many people that are above the law. You know, so far Hunter Biden is above the law. Certainly Vice President Biden was above the law. Hillary Clinton was above the law. There are a lot of people that are above the law. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, all above the law. But the simple case of the matter is that no, we don't have the need to be able to chase down the president with indictments from any level. From any level. The only way that you can hold a president accountable is through impeachment and removal from office. That is the check and balance on presidential power. All you got to do is convince the legislature the president is acting poorly, and you impeach him for it, and you remove him from office. There you go. That's the way that works. But the president is right. President Trump is correct. These presidents have to have immunity. And what's interesting to me is all these Democrats will sit there and say, no one is above the law, and Trump is not above the law, nobody's above the law, blah, 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 blah. But then when it comes to, say, for example, President Biden, well, all that just disappears. It just disappears. They'll still say that nobody's above the law, just like they did with President Trump and selected others. But they don't say that Hillary's not above the law. See what I mean? You know, this is intellectually bankrupt. This is just plain hypocrisy. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we try to tamp that down as much as humanly possible. This is the Wells Report. Thanks very much for joining us. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how the dauntless civil servants, the representatives and senators saved us from the worst of all possible circumstances. It happened yesterday. I'll explain in a minute. This is the Wells Report. Stay where you are.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells thanking you for being a part of this broadcast. For those people that are just joining us, we discovered what the winter analog of Fishing Shirt Friday is. It's Flannel Shirt Friday. So I'm going to go find some really cool flannel shirts. I'm going to start wearing those on Friday. Sort of. I'll explain later. Well, those dauntless folk in the U.S. Congress have done it again. They have saved us from the worst possible eventuality, the shutdown of the American government. God, without the American government, this entire country would go to hand in a hell basket. If you watch this broadcast for any length of time, this regular brinksmanship when it comes to the budget of the United States just absolutely infuriates me. This garbage has been used to fleece the American people in the Treasury for decades. My God. We haven't done anything about the budget. We got to do something about the budget. Ah! I know. We'll put all of the appropriations bills into one gigantic omnibus. And in that gigantic omnibus will be even more gigantic, frivolous wastes of money. Pork barrel spending. Well, we pork barreled ourselves into $34 trillion in national debt. And they keep doing it. So this kind of garbage really upsets me because they wait until the last second. They have to throw something together so that nobody will actually be able to go through a 4 billion page bill to find out who's ripping us off the worst. It's ridiculous. But those dauntless have done it again. Congress once again avoided a partial government shutdown just a day before funding was set to expire. It's amazing how they do that. Both chambers approved a funding extension to March with overwhelmingly bipartisan support. That's right, because they don't care about what kind of money they spend. It's not their money, and it's the taxpayers' money, and who cares? This allowed lawmakers more time to hammer out a long-term spending agreement. Except they're not going to do that. They're going to do this again and again and again and again. The Senate voted 77-18. House voted 314-108 to extend funding to March 1st and March 8th. Avoiding a shutdown means Americans are spared disruptions in food safety inspections, passport processing, air travel, early childhood learning programs, small business loans, frivolous citations from executive branch agencies for stuff that has nothing to do with the Constitution or due process. We're going to miss out on all of those things. The FBI chasing down parents because they were just a little bit too animated when they ask a question at the school board. If we don't have these funding things, all that stops. More Democrats than Republicans voted to support the GOP-led extension in the House. Yeah, that's because there are some Republicans that say we can't keep doing it this way, but they keep being overwhelmed by, that's right, Democrats. More Democrats than Republicans. Democrats. Spending, Democrats. Oh, but what about Trump? Yeah, what about Trump? Well, yeah, what about Reagan? Yeah. What about George W. Bush? Yeah. Yeah, that pesky 2000, that 9/11 2001 thing. Boy, that was sure expensive, wasn't it? And that COVID. Golly, that was expensive. Yeah. And after Democrat rule for God knows how long, Reagan had to actually come up with a United States military. Yep. What are we spending the money on now? Gender reassignment surgery for illegal aliens. I'm sorry, did I say aliens? Does it seem like I'm a bit grumpy when I bring up this government budgeting? Because it seems like I'm grumpy. This is the Wells Report. Telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Give us a quick shout out. Michelle Larrabee from Massachusetts is joining us. Mike is here. And we are waiting for you. Get on the chat room. Call us on the phone. 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to Low Cost Airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Good morning. It's Friday. Yvonne Field has made the show. Yvonne, thanks for joining us. You see my little note there? Yeah. Came up with the answer that we were looking for a while back. Check it out on the chat room. You can do that. Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley had a town hall last night on CNN. According to the CNN Politics story of that event, her goal in the New Hampshire Republican presidential primary is to be strong this next Tuesday. The one-time South Carolina governor stopped short of saying she needs to defeat former President Donald Trump in the Granite State primary. She doesn't. She just needs to be able to keep the money coming so that she can continue to be in this chase. All right? Just saying. So she said her personal goal is to do better than we did in Iowa, where she finished in third place, 32 points behind Trump, 2 points behind Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I suggest she'll probably beat Ron DeSantis this next Tuesday in New Hampshire. Polls show that she's much closer to Trump in New Hampshire, where she is expected to benefit from a more moderate Republican primary electorate, with undeclared voters able to participate in the Tuesday contest. Now, there are takeaways, according to CNN, that you need to be aware of last night's town hall. Haley affirmed her view that America has never been a racist country. Earlier this week, Haley was asked in a Fox News interview if she believes the Republican Party was racist, after an MSNBC host wondered whether Haley could win the GOP nomination as a woman of color. Haley answered the question more broadly, responding that America has never been a racist country. During the town hall last night, the former governor was asked by Jake Tapper if she stood by that answer. Here is how that exchange went on the Wells Report.
You said that America has, quote, never been a racist country, unquote. Protections for the institution of slavery were written into the U.S. Constitution. The White House was built with slave labor. Your home state of South Carolina seceded from the Union, fought a war to defend the enslavement of Black people. I understand you don't think America is a racist country now, but we're here at a college. Do you really think as a historical matter, America has never been a racist country?
I mean, think about what you're saying. First of all, I will tell you, when you look at, the Declaration of Independence, it was that, men are created equal with unalienable rights, right? That was what we all knew. But what I look at it as is I was a brown girl that grew up in a small rural town. We had plenty of racism that we had to deal with. But my parents never said we lived in a racist country. And I'm so thankful they didn't. Because for every brown and Black child out there, if you tell them they live or were born in a racist country, you're immediately telling them they don't have a chance. And my parents would always say, you may have challenges. And yes, there will be people who are racist, but that doesn't define what you can do in this country. And so I think it's important that we tell all kids that, look, America is not perfect. We have our stains. We know that. But our goal should always be to make today better than yesterday. It's hugely important. And that's the problem I have, is we have too many people with this national self-loathing. It is killing our country. We have got to go back to loving America. We are blessed because that little brown girl in that small rural town in South Carolina, she grew up to become the first female minority governor in history. She then went on to be UN ambassador, and now she's running for president of the United States. I want every brown and Black child to see that and say, no, I don't live in a country that was formed on racism. I live in a country where they wanted all people to be equal and to make sure that they had life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, and that's what she had to say. And indeed, I understand what she's saying. However, America was a racist nation for a very long time. And that racism extended at least through the 1960s. Started to turn the corner in the 70s. Everybody was so successful and having so much fun in the 80s that nobody really noticed, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, America was a racist country. Now, that may be because I was raised in the South. And I listened to an awful lot of people talk about how racist the South was and how horrifyingly terrible the South was about racism. And, I spent a lot of time thinking about it. Did I experience racism in the South? Yeah, I sure did. But not in my house. Very much like Nikki Haley was talking about. Everybody came to our house. It didn't make any difference what the packaging was. We were interested in people. And so that's the way things were. That's the way things were done in our particular house. It wasn't necessarily that way all around. And I did see an awful lot of racism. We're at a dime store in Brevard, North Carolina. And I can't remember what it was. It was I don't know. I can't remember. Can't remember the name of it, but it was a famous 5 and 10 cent store. And we were in line waiting for the cashier. And there was a Black woman in front of us. And the cashier looked at us and said, what would you, it's time to ring you up. And Mother goes, she was in front of us. And the cashier said, but that's okay. She said, no, she was in front of us. And Mom stood her ground. So that's how we dealt with it. And this was solidly in the 60s. So yeah, this nation was racist. But then you have to start looking at the founding documents. Jake Tapper just said something in this particular interview that once again annoys me because, well, Jake Tapper annoys me from time to time. He finds a way to annoy me. He said that slavery was enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. That is baloney. That is absolute 100%, not even beef baloney. It's pork baloney. It's just plain bankrupt. What he's talking about is what has been referred to as the 3/5 compromise. And that was a compromise to represent the slaves on the ground in the United States, because there was slavery north of the Mason-Dixon line, as well as there was south of the Mason-Dixon line. And so that 3/5 compromise, arguably, the slaves didn't have to be represented in the first Congress at all. But that particular compromise did not enshrine slavery in the United States. It recognized it. It recognized it in a way that these people needed to have representation in Congress. And Jake Tapper, who says he touts the fact that he's a history major. Well, I don't know what history he learned, but all you got to do is read the Constitution. Let's go back to the Declaration of Independence. It doesn't talk about white people. It talks about all people. We the people it's not we the white people of the United States of America, it's we the people. So from its very inception, race was not a part of the actual charters that began this nation. And so I see where Nikki Haley is going, and she also comes to it from a standpoint of being a minority. She came from an Indian. I'm talking about Indian from India. Okay. And so, yeah, she had brown skin. And yeah, she was living in the South. And yeah, she experienced racism. But what was interesting is that she and her parents turned away from it. Yes, they could have taken umbrage. They could have taken umbrage at the fact that they were being discriminated against racially, but they said, no, you're going to have challenges. We all do. I had red hair. So people made fun of red hair and people with red hair, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We sneeringly call them gingers now. Okay. So people will find something to pester you about. The question is, will you take umbrage at it? Now, that's a little bit different when you start thinking back to all the films that you saw in the United States of America with black people being pushed around on the streets by fire hoses. But when Nikki Haley said it wasn't a racist country, I think she was maybe painting with too broad a brush. She was trying to make a point that she decided, her parents decided, that was not something that they were going to take umbrage at. Yvonne Field brings up something. Okay? Hindu Indians had a very serious, enforced caste system. I would prefer to think that caste system was something that Nikki Haley's parents decided to try to escape from, and that's why they came to America. I don't know. But what I can say is this. The racism of America was plain. And you can, with a straight face, argue the fact that, yeah, the United States is a racist nation, or was a racist nation, because there was a change. And it happened with the election, and we know exactly when it happened. 2008, when President Obama was elected. That's when the racism of America stopped being, I don't like you, I'm not going to deal with you because you have different colored skin, into exploitation of racism, which is well, you discriminated against me your entire life, you are a bigot, and so on and so forth, and we're going to pay you back. So overt racism, by the way, being a crime against humanity. Racism existed up until 2008. The United States of America elected a black president. And for about 15 minutes, we had buried racism in the United States. Until the people that use race as a way to further a political agenda or some advantage somewhere realized that they were giving up the farm. Oh, no. That doesn't mean that just because we elected a black person doesn't mean that the United States isn't racist. And so it all started again. Set back the country 60 years, 70 years. It was awful. And so we're still recoiling in horror over that. At some point, we have to put these ideas from these divisive people that see a way to segment the American population for the sake of politics, to set one part of Americans, one group of Americans against another, pounding on each other, shaming those who don't agree that everybody's everybody under certain political ideologies, as opposed to everybody's everybody because we're all human beings. Can we please get back to work now? And so Nikki Haley kind of sort of ran afoul of all of that. And yeah, Jake Tapper points out, well, it was enshrined in the Constitution. Slavery was enshrined in the Constitution. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Wasn't enshrined in the Constitution. It was recognized in the Constitution, recognized that those people needed absolute representation in the United States government. Well, but wait a minute. Only 3/5 of the total number of slaves. Right. That's true. Should have been 100%. Should have been 100%. And why wasn't it 100%? Famously, race hustlers say the white people of America think that I'm 3/5 of a human being. No, that's not the way it worked. Once again, that's creative interpretation. That isn't reality. The reason that 100% of the slaves were represented in Congress was because the people of the North, the northern colonies, the northern states, if you will, believed that would give the South, which was where where slavery was predominantly located, would have too much political power. So it came down to politics. Now, politicians exploiting race, well, that happens all the time. It's still happening all the time. These people that bravely say, we have to stop this institutional racism, as they practice institutional racism. The best way to stop racism in the United States is to stop it. Look at achievements instead of packaging. Look at achievements. That's what has to happen. Nikki Haley, a victim of a gotcha there, but she should have thought that through. Yeah. And she didn't. Maybe she's tired. She's had a very, very long year. And there's more ahead of her. And these people don't get enough rest. And it shows. And you make mistakes. That's part of the grind of American politics. So, once again, this constant harangue, this constant willingness to go from one supposed outrage to another supposed outrage, courtesy of a media that is exploiting and propagandizing what you say and how you say it. Most of that is lost because people have pretty good heads on their shoulders. And I'm sure that's the case. This is the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
not much closer, and again, airfare.
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. We've been talking about people making mistakes on the campaign trail, etc. And that happens. President Biden raised eyebrows yesterday. He appeared to confuse a woman he took a photo with for a Democrat representative. And the video speaks for itself. And so what I'm going to do is play that for you. This was from North Carolina yesterday and President Biden.
Thanks for the welcome back to North Carolina, Gov. I appreciate it very much. I also want to mention Congressman Deborah Ross. Where's Deborah? I just had my picture taken with her. That's probably why she left. No, all kidding aside. Anyway, she couldn't be here, actually. That's not true. I got it mixed up.
So what's interesting about that video is that apparently somebody's talking to the president inside his ear. Because suddenly he realized what was going on. I don't know that he was going to be able to figure that out. But someone was speaking to him. Now, that's not easy to do. When somebody's talking to you while you're talking, that's not easy to do. But I can't explain why he suddenly figured that out unless he just remembered that that representative he was talking about wasn't the person he had a photograph with. So I suspect that someone was talking to him. Now, that in itself doesn't really bother me that much. What bothers me about this is the reality of it all. You know, Joe is old and getting older every day. Now, there was a stunning bit of deterioration that began midway through last year. And toward the end of the year, it was not good. And it seemed like he was getting worse every single day. And then he took a whole bunch of vacations in a row. Now, I don't know what happened during those vacations, whether or not he just spent most of his time sleeping, which is probably what has helped him out a little bit, or whether they got his meds right or what have you. But even at that point, even at that, the man is having a real problem. He cannot debate. He can barely give a speech. And if I happen to be a Republican candidate for the presidency, I would be constantly pounding on Joe Biden to debate. One debate would finish Joe Biden's candidacy. One. And everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. The Democrat Party knows it. The Republican Party knows it. Why doesn't the Republican Party exploit it? Because that's mean? Would the Democrat Party have any problem with that whatsoever? The answer is no. That's because the Democrat Party will do anything to win. The Republican Party won't. Nice guys finish last. By choice. But when you're dealing with an organization that quite literally will do or say anything for the sake of electoral victory, then you had better decide that you're going to engage with that party at that level and cost them the same amount of difficulty that they cost you by going to that level of what is degenerate political posturing. Do you have to be degenerate about it? I'm afraid you do. Sometimes you just have to get into the gutter with a bully and pound their face in. There's no excuse for raising your hand against another. Oh, yeah, there is. And if you don't start finding those reasons, the Republican Party is going to remain a feckless political party that everybody runs over because they feel like it. Press runs over the Republican Party. Democrats run over the Republican Party. Progressives, well, they run over everybody because they're progressives. They get finished with the Republican Party, they're going to start on Democrats. You can see them doing it already. The squad refuses to support President Biden for whatever reason of the day. That's going to get worse if they have more power, that people keep electing these progressive socialists. I have no idea what they're trying to do, but they're sure screwing up. You know, if I had something to say, I would identify every squad member. I would identify their districts. I would identify whatever it is in their districts that is worth going to see or vacation in and say, don't go there. Leave those places alone. Because clearly they're enclaves of American communism, and we don't need any more of that. We've got quite enough, thank you. We've got quite enough. President Biden, once again, I'm sticking to my guns. I don't think he's going to be running for the presidency. As a matter of fact, there are other people that agree. Andrew Yang, in case you do not know, Andrew Yang has just endorsed a Minnesota Democrat for the presidency. And you know who it is. It's Dean Phillips. Yeah, this is a guy who's kind of moderate. Representative Dean Phillips gained the endorsement of former 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang. This happened yesterday, who told voters in New Hampshire it's time to upgrade from the predicted Biden versus Trump rematch that no one wants. Phillips, a moderate Minnesotan, is a long shot to lead the Democrat ticket, but at some point, they're going to be looking for somebody that might have a chance to win. Gavin Newsom is not that guy. Kamala Harris is not that girl. So who are they going to get? I don't know, but they better find somebody soon. This is the Wells Report, hour number 1 in the books. Back with hour 2 next.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Hey, thanks for joining us this morning for the Wells Report. And make sure you share us with all your friends on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Patreon. And don't forget to check out our Substack column, which will be coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. When you do all this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us those thumbs up. They are really important. Check the notification box so you know when we're on the air. And whatever you do, join us every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time, for the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. Good morning, I'm John David Wells. I want to thank you very much for being a part of our broadcast. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. If you're finding this broadcast for the first time, you may be asking yourself, why would I spend any time with it? Well, let me explain what I think. We report the news, honestly and fairly. I think that's important. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. I think that's important too. In other words, we depropagandize the mainstream media. That might be valuable to you, especially when you consider the alternative. We do make commentary. That is not news. That's opinion, which means we debate. News, analysis, commentary, and debate. That's the Wells Report. I hope you find it valuable. So, something showed up today that you need to be exquisitely aware of. This comes from Fox News. You can go to foxnews.com and see it. Milford Regional Medical Center is somewhere in Massachusetts, Michelle Larrabee country. And they have caused a stir because they have rules for what they call an inclusive environment. They have a warning to potential patients that they need to follow a specific code of conduct to access their services. Oh, really? Dr. Peter Smulowitz, he's the chief medical officer at the Massachusetts Medical Center, just released a now unlisted video. I couldn't find it. On the hospital's official YouTube channel, explaining how not just staff, but patients themselves are held accountable by the medical center for causing offense, ranging from rhetoric to a hostile tone of voice. Everyone should expect a safe, caring, inclusive environment in all of our spaces, said Dr. Smulowitz. Our Patients and Visitor Code of Conduct helps us meet this goal. Words or actions that are disrespectful, racist, discriminatory, hostile, or harassing are not welcome and will not be tolerated. He specified some examples of unacceptable conduct would be offensive comments about others' race, ethnicity, their accent, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or other personal traits, refusal to see a clinician or other staff member based on these personal traits, aggressive or intimidating behavior, physical or verbal threats and assaults, sexual or vulgar words or actions, and disrupting another patient's care or experience. Smulowitz warned that body language and tone of voice are also important parts of communication. Really? The doctor said, however, people would be given a chance to explain themselves should they be accused of such conduct. Apparently, that explanation would occur in front of a jury of people who know better than you what you're actually thinking. Quote, if we believe you have violated our code with unwelcome words or actions, you'll be given a chance to explain your point of view. We will always carefully consider your response before we make any decisions about future care. at Milford Regional. Did you hear that? The official website laid out potential scenarios of how the medical center will respond to infractions, including the denial of non-emergency treatment. Some violations of this code may lead patients to be asked to make other plans for their care. For serious and repeated violations, future non-emergency care and visitation rights at Milford Regional may require review, although we expect this to be rare. Oh, really? Yeah. So, what is all this? This is why it is essential that the United States government not have anything to do with healthcare in this nation. As we found out during the COVID era, some of these very same things were used to determine whether or not someone was playing ball. People who did not play ball lost their jobs. Some lost their careers. Some people went to jail for opening their business because they had to pay their people. And so, when it comes down to all of this, this is a reminder that we cannot have authorities looking at us and dealing with us based on their particular ideas of what your proper behavior ought to be, especially when it comes to healthcare. These people will actually not treat you if you violate their code of conduct. Now, normally, that wouldn't really make any difference. I mean, you know, if you happen to be anywhere near where Milford Regional Medical Center is, you need to stop seeing those people until all those people are gone. Until they close their doors because nobody comes and sees them. If I lived in that part of Massachusetts, I wouldn't have anything to do with Milford Regional Medical Center. I wouldn't have anything to do with them at all. In fact, I'd find out who their actual staff is, and I'd avoid those people too if they happen to have private medical practices. That would be tricky. But this is a poison pill. Can you imagine not being treated because you didn't follow a particular code of conduct? Oh, come on, JD. They said that was going to be rare. Oh, really? Yeah, there are people that did not get transplants because they didn't have COVID shots. They died. You wait years on a transplant list. And if you didn't get a shot that has now been proven to be ineffective, you didn't get your transplant. And you died. This is not some small thing here. Sure. Milford Regional Medical Center needs to go out of business. And they need to go out of business the hard way. People need to stop walking in the door. They need to not have anything to do with Milford Regional Medical Center because they have set themselves up to be the divine jury of proper social behavior. I mean, can you imagine? Tone of voice might be a problem. Body language. Okay. Let me give you an example of how that can go dangerously awry. You're peacefully minding your own business. Everything's fine. You get hit by a car and both of the bones in your forearm are sticking through your skin. There's blood everywhere. It hurts like bloody hell. They take you to Milford Regional Medical Center. And you go into the ER. And you have this towel that's soaked in blood covering the bones. And they say, well, let's do all of this. Let me have your name. And you go through all that stuff, that razzmatazz, et cetera, et cetera. Right? And then they say, sit down right there and we'll get you back in just a couple of minutes. And you go sit down. And the pain is hitting so hard you can't stand it. So you go back up there and say, can I please be seen right now? This thing is killing me. We told you to just sit back down. Now, wait a minute. Now, come on. Look at this. They're bones. My God, what are you showing me that for? Excuse me? I have bones sticking out of my arm. I need to be seen. The pain is off the scale bad. Can you please give me a shot? Sir, we're just going to have to ask you to moderate your behavior or explain why it is that you're speaking to us like this. I'm speaking to you like this because I have bones sticking out of my arm. And you're making me sit down in the waiting room. So you're calling our hospital operations policy to be some kind of inadequate, or you're casting aspersions on it? No. I'm trying to get myself treated so I can have a pain shot. Security, please come to the emergency room. That could happen. And I'm sure your body language would be a little bit suspect if you happen to have a bone sticking out of a part of your body where it normally doesn't. Well, that's a pretty extreme example, Wells. I mean, they do provide emergency care. Sure they do. Sure they do. But what if, say, for example, somebody comes in here and says, let's see what we can do about doing this. God, I'm glad you finally showed up. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm sorry, I have a meeting, and they walk out and you have to wait for somebody else. You build a culture that puts people in a position of judgment of people that are in extreme circumstances. Let me read you a little bit of this. Okay? This is from Santa Clara University. China is developing a social credit score that would be applied to all of its citizens. Several pilot programs have already been implemented, and a single nationwide program is scheduled to begin. That was in 2020. Part financial credibility indicator, part compliance mechanism, the social credit system aims to generate a score for individuals and institutions in China based on data like tax filings, driving demerits. And while consumers may reap rewards, the score also functions as a signal mechanism for authorities about whom or what deserves to be penalized. When they were dealing with COVID, they actually welded the doors closed on people's apartments. And then, of course, there was a fire and a whole bunch of people got burned to death because they couldn't get out of their apartments because the doors were welded shut. That's where all this leads. Like I said, we've already killed people looking for transplants because they wouldn't take a COVID shot. How far do you want to go with this? I don't want to go any further than this at all. I want to see Milford Regional Medical Center, and if I was in the Massachusetts Assembly, I would immediately pass a resolution, or at least try to get a resolution passed or introduced, certainly, to cancel the charter of Milford Regional Medical Center. It may not go anywhere, but I'm sure the people of Milford Regional Medical Center might say, uh-oh, maybe we overstepped. Yeah, because you overstepped. And if this kind of garbage becomes governmental policy, let me ask you this question. So someone like President Biden or somebody like President Obama, somebody like those in a future leadership position in the United States. And Obamacare is now the law of the land, and everything is a government health care project. Everybody goes and sees government doctors. I'm doing this broadcast. I am critical of the entire system. Do I get a kidney transplant? Do I get a heart transplant? Do I get a liver transplant? Do I get effective pain medication if I break my arm and have bones sticking out of it? You got to think about this stuff. And you can't let this stuff go uncommented on. Milford Regional Medical Center. Should be Milford Regional Virtue Center, shouldn't it? This is the Wells Report. John David Wells, thanking you very much for being a part of our broadcast. 817-379-2172 is our telephone number. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, an incredibly funny commercial, and I'll share that with you next here on the Wells Report.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. I am a father of four fine sons. And when we were all together in one house, it was a circus. And I could not imagine what that circus would be like if I had more than 4 sons. Nick Cannon, who happens to be the host of The Masked Singer, has 12 kids. 12. And I think that's wonderful. Okay. And so they the people at Buffalo Wild Wings have this new deal. All right. Giving away free advertising is not something I should be doing, but this is genius. And I really like Nick, and I really like how this commercial came together. It's a brilliant piece because it touches on a lot of things that dads deal with when they have kids running amok. I want you to see this. This is really good. Pay attention to how he switches back and forth. The premise is that he's doing this television commercial, and he's at one point being a dad who's yelling at his kids, and at the other time trying to portray himself as a dad who doesn't yell at his kids. Check this out. I think you'll think it's incredibly funny. This is the latest Buffalo Wild Wings ad starring Nick Cannon.
Really? Who ate my wings? Sports, friends, fun. As a father of 12, I ain't got time for none of that shit. You got kids gonna be testing my nerves today, huh? I'm trying to do a commercial. But as a super patient father who never gets upset, I'm always looking out for a good deal. So when Buffalo Wild Wings reached out to me to promote their buy one, get one wing deals on Tuesdays and Thursdays, this father was in. Buy one, get one half off traditional wings on Tuesdays and buy one, get one free boneless wings on Thursdays. It's a win for everyone. Super dads, wing enthusiasts, actors turned hosts who just so happen to be hip-hop icons. Even people with 12 kids. Buy one, get one wing deals available every Tuesday and Thursday only at Buffalo Wild Wings. Ain't me at my house. I don't care how many of them is. Ganging up on me.
I don't have 12 kids, but I got 4 sons, and so I've just kind of sort of been there and done that, especially going to the refrigerator to grab something that you know is going to be in there, and it's not. Really? Of course, that's not really much of a problem here in our house. We have a rule. If it's in there, if it's in the refrigerator and you want it, eat it. So we're very, food is love in this house. And if you want some food, eat it. Okay. And so, but the funny part about this is the Buffalo Wild Wings came up with a real winner here. Nick Cannon hit this out of the park. It is a perfect commercial, and I just wanted you to see it. It's also very, very funny. And Nick Cannon, who's a little bit stilted on The Masked Singer. I mean, he's very regimented and so on and so forth. You don't get to see this delightful personality. I hope they've been on The Masked Singer for a long time now, but I hope they let him be a little more himself as time goes by, because I never thought that he was this kind of guy. It's just brilliant. It's just a brilliant commercial, and I thought you'd like to see it. And oh, by the way, Buffalo Wild Wings used to be someplace that we spent a lot of time at. Okay, but it got so expensive we couldn't do it. I mean, we just couldn't do it. So now we go to Duff's, which I think it's a franchise, but I'm not sure. But Duff's is really good. Yeah. When we lived in Las Vegas, we went to a place called Johnny Rockets. When I lived in Atlanta, there was this wing place, and I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember. It was just like this little hole in the wall place. And man, they had the best wings on earth. So you have some wings and you wash it down with a Rolling Rock. Yow. Really good. Buffalo Wild Wings, good, but not great. And expensive? Lord. I'm glad they're finding a way to cut their costs. This is the Wells Report. OpenAI is in the news. And I'm really concerned about it. I will explain coming up in just a couple of seconds as we keep rolling for this Friday morning. Back in a sec.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Ann just wrote a book on the chat room. And I'm reading it. I'm going, huh? What? What? Oh. Oh, I see. So this is about This is about President Biden. President Biden said many of the borrowers impacted by his latest round of student loan debt handouts are public sector workers like teachers and firefighters who will have their debt erased over 10 years of public service. Nearly 30,000 borrowers impacted have been in repayment for about 20 years, but never got the relief they earned through income-driven repayment plans. The latest round of student loan debt cancellation brings the total amount canceled under President Biden to $136.6 billion for more than 33.7 million Americans, according to the Department of Education. It comes after the U.S. Supreme Court blocked President Biden's initial student loan handout last year, which would have cost more than $400 billion. And goes on to say, I guess that SCOTUS ruling, that Supreme Court ruling, doesn't matter to this bunch of thugs. No, I don't believe it does. It does not. So, my friends, I have been extremely concerned about artificial intelligence and what it means for human beings on this planet. I am exquisitely concerned about it. I was admonished from some real experts in the field who said, John, it's basically just an advanced form of a search engine. And I said, maybe, but I kept looking at it for what it could possibly be and where we are at this particular moment. And I allowed as how that it's only a matter of time before my serious concerns become serious reality. And they said, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. And then one of those persons came back up to me and said, you know what? You might have been right. I'm really concerned about OpenAI. And I said, well, like I said, it's only a matter of time. And there's this thing called the technology curve, where the lower scale is time and the vertical scale is technological improvement. And that curve keeps getting steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper. And so the things I was concerned about, say 5 years ago from a technological standpoint, actually came to fruition in 2.5 years. And my concern over OpenAI, which was last year, seemingly coming to fruition this year. It's going to get faster until eventually we can't keep up with it. So let's talk a little bit about OpenAI, the parent company of the popular artificial intelligence chatbot platform, ChatGPT. They've altered their usage policy to get rid of an inconvenient prohibition on using their technology for, quote, military and warfare, unquote. Well, OpenAI's usage policy specifically banned the use of its technology for weapons development, military and warfare before January 10th of this year. But that policy has since been updated to only disallowing use that would, quote, bring harm to others, unquote. This according to a report from Computer World. Quote, our policy does not allow our tools to be used to harm people, develop weapons for communication surveillance, or to injure others or destroy property, unquote. That's an OpenAI spokesperson talking to Fox News Digital. There are, however, national security uses and cases that align with our mission. For example, we're already working with DARPA, the Department of Advanced Research and something or other, DARPA, to spur the creation of new cybersecurity tools to secure open source software that critical infrastructure and industry depend on. It was not clear whether these beneficial case uses would have been allowed under military in our previous policies. So the goal with our policy update is to provide clarity and the ability to indeed have these discussions. The quiet change will now enable OpenAI to work closely with the military, something that has been a point of division among those running the company. Yeah. Christopher Alexander, the chief analytics officer of Pioneer Development Group, believes that the divide within the company comes from a misunderstanding of how the military would actually use OpenAI's technology. You know, these words really need to be chiseled on rocks and hidden from from plain view. Okay? Because all of these words, all of these statements, these policy statements are going to come back with haunting irony that you will probably never ever recover from. The losing faction is concerned about AI becoming too powerful or uncontrollable and probably misunderstands how OpenAI might support the military, Christopher Alexander said. The most likely use of OpenAI is for routine administrative and logistics work. Sure it is. Which represents a massive cost savings to taxpayers. That's right. Why is it a massive savings to taxpayers? Why would routine administrative and logistics work being handled by, say, for example, artificial intelligence, why would that save money? Because that artificial intelligence would be replacing people who are expensive. Well, what would those people do to make a living? Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, let's just keep rolling on this. I'm glad to see that OpenAI's current leadership understands that improvements to DoD capabilities to enhance effectiveness, which translates to fewer lives lost on the battlefield. Sure it does. As AI, I mean, this is gallows humor here. That's what this is. These people actually believe this garbage. Fewer losses on the battlefield. Oh, yeah, sure. As AI continues to grow, concerns are also growing about the dangers posed by the technology. The Computer World Report points to one such example last May when hundreds of tech leaders and public figures signed an open letter warning that AI could eventually lead to an extinction event and that putting guardrails in place to prevent that should be a priority. You think? Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks, such as pandemics and nuclear war. Right. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman was one of the most prominent figures in the industry to sign the letters, highlighting the company's apparent long-held desire to limit the dangerous potential of AI. Okay, so at some point, artificial intelligence is going to be sentient. It's just a matter of time. And we're already using artificial intelligence to replace people. Okay? And now what we're doing is we're opening artificial intelligence to be used nothing more than just administrative purposes and so on and so forth in the military, which is garbage. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow AI to be a part of the military. And I'm not just talking about the United States. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about human beings. I don't care what country you're from, what your government organization is like, what your politics are. The military is going to become, first, a user of AI, and then they are going to be a servant of AI, and then they're going to be a target of AI. And there isn't much we can do about it. Now, I don't know. I don't have any idea what we're going to do to get around this. Seems like the genie's already out of the bag. I remember the first time I ever saw an Apple IIe. It was 1984. I was working at a radio station in Charlotte, North Carolina. I said, what a cool looking computer. I didn't realize that a few decades later, I'd be looking at that thing wondering, what's it doing? We have computers that work faster than we do, that work more efficiently than we do, don't need to have brakes like we do, this along with artificial and industrial robots. Fully automated everything. Fully automated McDonald's. Okay, so where do high school kids get their first jobs? Well, maybe if they're they go to a technical school someplace so they can fix the robots until the robots figure out how to fix themselves. See, and this isn't going to be something that's going to take a long, long time. We're not talking about a century. We're not talking about half a century. We may be talking about 20 years, maybe. At some point, we keep talking about maybe we could use AI in our elections. Why in heaven's name should there be any other intellect besides a human one in a voting booth? Why? And now what we're going to do is we're going to put AI in the military and we're going to teach it how to fight war. And our AI is going to be better than their AI? And this is all going to reduce deaths on the battlefield. Right. Because you're quite literally going to remove humanity from the battlefield. How are you going to stop AI from committing a war crime? How are you going to punish AI for committing a war crime? How are you going to do it? The answer is you're not. The answer is you're not. Once again, I'm not trying to scare you on Friday. I'm not trying to bring you this, this crazy scenario to concern you. Because at this particular moment, is there much we can do about it? Human beings creating the actual functional intellect / beings that replace us on this planet. And we're teaching them how to do it with every incremental step in allowing AI into our society. It's crazy. It's nutty. And I would normally say at this point, pal, we don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Come on. We don't have to worry about it. It's not going to affect us. But what if it already is? What if it's already affecting us? What if there's a computer out there that's already outthinking us? That's working on conceptual things that not only we don't understand, but quite literally cannot understand. What if it's out there already? So what do? Well, here's the way I'm handling it. I make damn sure that I have some really tasty smoked honey ham and some fresh Hellman's mayonnaise, a little bit of honey mustard, and I put that ham and that mayo and that honey mustard and all that stuff on a couple of slices of Pepperidge Farm Hawaiian bread. And I sit down with a glass of water and some spicy nacho Doritos, and I turn on television. Then I watch things like, I don't know, Star Trek. One of the episodes is The Ultimate Computer, where a computer takes over the entire starship and starts killing people with it. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe what's happening is that Star Trek, not just the author of our communicators and tricorders, not just these amazing computers that give us all the information in the entire world, but also giving me an anxiety attack based on computers running everything instead of us. So Star Trek is responsible for everything that we deal with, I guess. Oh well, it could be worse. Wait a minute. I can't think of how it could be worse. Don't worry about it. It's the divisional round of the NFL. Come on, we got nothing to worry about. Our telephone number is 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Eddie says, are we talking about the Matrix here? Yeah. The question is the Matrix talking about us here? What else? My bag is packed. Right. Sure it is. We're going to have to figure out how to live off the land, I think. I'm just saying. This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more coming up in just a couple of minutes. For this Friday afternoon, we've got some programming information coming up next. Stay where you are.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right, for about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back, but you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now.
Call 866-245-6155. That's 866-245-6155. Again, 866-245-6155. 866-245-6155.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. Telephone number 817-379-2172, 817-379-2172. Speaking of technology going dangerously awry, there is an airline out there. It's a cargo airline. It's called Atlas Air. And one of their 747s, peacefully minding its own business, took off a little while ago and had a problem. This particular video circled the globe, and the India Times came up with the best edits on it because there was some profanity in it, as you might expect. But take a look at this.
Oh my God, it's on fire. Oh my God. Sorry. Mom. I hope they're okay. I wonder if they're doing an emergency.
That's a bad day.
Oh,
right there.
no, it's still doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's on fire. Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah, so would you like to look out the window of your jet and see that? Probably not. But you don't have to go that far. It doesn't have to be that exotic. Like, for example, shall we say Let's go to New York. What do you think? Electric bicycles. You know, that panacea for green transportation around the Great Big Apple? Yeah. They have caused a record number of fires, injuries, and deaths last year. According to Fox News in this biased report, Democrats continue to push for greater adoption of the devices as a solution to global warming. Well, you're not really getting away from the warming aspect of this because those things are powered with lithium batteries. And from our What Could Possibly Go Wrong department, check this out. There you go. You see some smoke over there from a lithium battery. Looks like it's being charged. Yeah. And you can see all these bikes that are out there, these electric scooters, etc. They're all waiting to have those batteries charged. And then all of a sudden, oh, something goes wrong. Yeah. The battery says, you know what? I just have had enough. Yeah. This is one of those lithium batteries. This is one lithium battery. The size of the lithium battery is sufficient enough to power a scooter. Your electric vehicle, on the other hand, has huge numbers of lithium batteries. Oh my God. Hang on just a second here. This is the Wells Report. Thanks for joining us. Hi.
Hey, Jerry. It's Steven.
Hey, Steven. What's up?
I call you for a while. Oh, not much.
Well, that's awesome. Do you know that you know that I'm on the air?
Oh, yeah. I figured. I'm sorry. I don't know what subject you're on. I kind of got out of work because they had to let us go home for the day.
Don't worry about it. We were just talking about lithium batteries burning up. I just played some really scary video.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, those are always fun.
You know, I never really thought that much about just exactly what it looks like when a lithium battery goes up, because they say, well, you know, there's a lithium battery fire and explosion and so on and so forth. That's pretty damn impressive, actually.
Yeah, well, they're pretty energetic, especially when they're fully charged, and they provide their own oxygen, so you can't put them out.
Yeah, that's right. The lithium, when it breaks down, it provides its own oxygen. It's a lot like rocket fuel.
Or one of those chemical torches.
Yeah, that's what you need. That's what you need. What's on your mind this morning?
Oh, no, I figured I'd give you a call. I've been trying to call you, but I tried to call you before Christmas, but apparently the phone wasn't working somehow.
I don't know how that, I mean, every now and then I'll go over to the phone that's here in the studio that you're talking on right now. I'll go over to the phone and it's not working. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
And then like an hour later, it's fine. So
I don't know. I would try to call and it would just immediately disconnect as soon as it connected. So it drove me crazy.
well, you need to go. You need to go to the chat room, and you need to go to the chat room, and you need to let me know when that happens so I can fix it.
Yeah, I had to get it signed up for one of the chat available services first.
Yeah, you do. Hey, listen, man, I got to run. I've got to tell some people about something that's going to affect this broadcast next week. Thanks for the call this morning.
Yeah, I'll check you out as soon as I get home.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right. See, our telephone works. 817-379-2172. Oh, yeah. Programming information. Got to tell you a little bit about some stuff. As you know, I'm a member of the Texas State Guard. Now, while I am a member of the Texas State Guard, when I do this broadcast, I do not speak for the Texas Military Department or the Texas State Guard. I usually don't talk about military matters at all. But this one is going to affect this broadcast for the next little bit of time, spanning more than 1 week. Okay. Now, I'm going to be popping up every now and then, which is why you need to make sure that you hit the notification button on whatever platform that you're watching, so you know when I'm able to show up and do some things. I'm going to be spending a little bit of time on an assignment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be popping up and making commentary. It'll be a lot shorter form, and I will return sometime after my birthday. And I'm not going to tell you when my birthday is. Just suffice it to say it's not long from now. And I'll explain a little bit more insofar as I can. Probably not that much more, but I will tell you that I'm going to be on assignment for the next bit of time, and I know I'm being circumspect and so on. But I just want you to understand that there are reasons why I keep certain things kind of in shade, okay? So make sure you watch for me. Make sure you check us out whenever I'm showing up on the air, and I'll see you when I see you, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't give up on the Wells Report. Stick with us. I'll be gone for a little bit, but I'll be back, okay? This has been the Wells Report. Thanks very much for being a part of it, and I will see you soon. Take good care. Well, okie dokie. All right. So for those people that are wondering just exactly what's going on, take a look at the Facebook and so on and so on. And what we'll do is we'll have some updates there. The great Jube Dankworth will be taking care of some of that publicity, and we'll explain insofar as we can. Won't tell you what we're up to, but we'll certainly tell you that we're around, and we will take care of this when we return. Won't be long, but it'll be a bit. So God bless you, and I will see you soon. Until then, see you later.